But we're still glad that all of y'all are here this evening. Like I said, my name is Pastor Zack, and I'm going to go ahead and jump in after my wonderful, lovely, beautiful, gorgeous wife introduces herself real quick.
And I'm Pastor Ashley.
Yes, Queen. Yeah. Now you can give it up for her. I always love when we have the opportunity to share, so we're going to be sharing together a little bit. Anybody know what we've been talking about all year long? Say it louder. One more time. We've been talking about identity. How many people know what we specifically have been talking about for the last couple of weeks? Name change. So we've been talking about identity all year long, but recently we have been talking about the power of changing your name. If you did not know, we used to be called Passion Student Ministries, and recently at summer camp, we took the plunge and changed our name from PSM to DY, District Youth, a place where you belong, and where you belong. And what we love about the fact that we decided to change the name is we knew that there would be some people who loved it and some people who did not. And that's okay, because when you do something that big, people are going to like it and people are not going to like it. Like, I have friends who changed their name, and some people like their new name, and then some people do not like their new name. But I think it's important for us to realize that people change their name for a reason. So, for those who don't know, like I said, my name is Pastor Zack, but my last name almost caused me to want to change my name when I got older. Like, I really consider, especially in elementary school, I really consider changing my name, because I used to get, everybody named Mama was like, they used to have I used to have my name get picked on all of the time. Yeah, that was a good one. I used to get my name picked on all the time because people used to call me Booger instead of Pastor Booker. Like, my last name is Booker, but everybody was talking about going straight up digging for gold, and they used to call me Booger this and Booger that. Man, you be picking stuff all the time, and you be picking stuff, and I see it all over the place. You be picking for gold. It's not that disgusting. You be picking for gold, and I really did consider changing my name because of it. And I guess this is where I want us to start with, because this is going to be one of those interactive messages. This does not work if you guys, and even you who are watching this later, does not respond. Have you ever called yourself by a different name? Raise your hand if you've ever called yourself by a different name. Okay, yell out some of the names that you've called yourself by. I should have done that better, because everybody's like, so I really don't know what anybody said. Raise your hand. Derek, what's the name that you call yourself by? D, okay. Boykin? Morgan. I was like, boy? They can't say Kayla. Who can't? We're not going to go there. Go ahead. Rhea. Jackie or Jack. Lissa. Kaya. RJ. Rye. Go ahead. Huh? Za. Her real name, we're not going to go there. We're not going to go there. I got your back, homie. But I don't be petty. I think it's important that if you've ever called yourself by a different name, it can potentially be out of line, because you are named what you are named for a reason. And God is the one who decided what your name was. Even if you think, my parent named me something crazy, God had a reason. There's going to be a place, or there's going to be something that you say that has the meaning why God has called you by what you are called. And you don't want to ever get out of line with God by going by a different name.
So as we jump into the message tonight, we're going to be talking about community, or at least one aspect of community. And so we're going to focus in on scripture. And the chapter that we're going to focus in on tonight, or the book we're going to focus in on tonight, is the book of Ruth, chapter 1. So I'm going to jump right in. You have to be a millennial to get that. I feel like.
Way over their heads. Continue.
So chapter 1, verse 19. So Naomi and Ruth traveled until they came to Bethlehem. When they entered Bethlehem, the whole city was stirred because of them. So the city is like, what are y'all doing here? Oh my gosh, girl, it's been years.
That's crazy.
And the women of the city exclaimed, can this be Naomi?
Naomi.
And she said in verse 20, do not call me Naomi. She replied, call me Mara, because the Almighty has dealt quite bitterly with me.
Oh, Lord.
Verse 21 says, I went away full, but the Lord has brought me back empty.
Mm.
Why call me Naomi? After all, the Lord has testified against me, and the Almighty has afflicted me. So she was going through it. So in today's terms, that would be like, I've been going through it. Do God even love me? Do you hear me? Are you listening to my prayers? And I know some of y'all have asked yourselves that, like, are you actually listening? Are you actually real? Do you hear me? Are you punishing me? What did I do to you? So before we go any further, I actually have a name story. Oh, unless you wanted to say something.
No, I had a question. What made her feel this way? Like, she feel like she's abandoned, nobody loves her, that God just kicked her to the side and said, man, bump you and everything about you. That's what she feels. Why does she feel this way?
She's actually really justified. I mean, I won't say justified. It is understandable the way that she feels. So if you've ever read the book of Ruth, you know this, but even if you haven't read it, we're going to refresh real quick. So what happens is Naomi, her husband, and her 2 sons go and they move away to a different land. And while they're in that land, this woman loses her husband and her 2 grown sons. But before her sons die, she does, they get married. So that's where Ruth comes in. Ruth is her daughter-in-law. So that's why Ruth and Naomi are traveling together back to Naomi's hometown, because they're like, what is left here for me? Let me go back to the place that I know, the place where I'm loved, maybe, you know? So as we were talking about names and name stories, I didn't have as traumatic as a childhood in terms of names as Zack, Pastor Zack. I mean, like, my last name was right, so I was at the end of the line a lot. That wasn't that much fun.
She was right, even though she was usually wrong. It was crazy.
Okay. But then also, my name is Ashley. And now that's not really that big of a deal, but when I was growing up, Ashley was like the #1 girl name in the United States of America. It was not uncommon for you to go into a classroom and there'd be like 5 to 7 Ashleys. There'd be Ashley A and Ashley B and Ashley H and Ashley E and Ashley Z and Ashley W.
What was the last name that started with Z? Continue. Ashley, all types of Ashleys.
There's a lot of
like
Ashleys.
legit used to be the thing.
So I was like, I'm changing my name. Like, when I get to around middle school, high school, I was like, when I get to college, I'm gonna change my name. I'm gonna go by my middle name. And my middle name is Cherie. So it's French. My dad gave it to me. It means dear one or beloved. And I was like, oop, that's a cute little, like, yeah,
this is my beloved,
boop,
Cherie.
My Cherie.
Cherie. You know, that's what I don't call
All
it.
right, we gonna move on.
But yeah.
So my question to you all, have you all ever called yourselves something negative? Have you ever given yourself a negative name or a negative attribute?
I have.
Raise your hand if you have. Okay. I'm going to move from left to right.
Ooh, good
my
answer,
left
Steve.
to my right. And raise your hand, or I'll point to you, and you could just say, like, what are some of the things that you've called yourselves? So go ahead.
Go ahead, Janae. Say it one more time. Stupid. Yeah.
Y'all hands was up just a second ago. Tam Tam?
Not enough. Oof,
Ooh.
I felt that in my soul.
For real.
Go ahead, Pastor Marley.
Shanae, she was scared.
Go ahead, Pastor Marley. Biggie.
Got it. Go ahead.
Midget. No, that's legit. Maya. Megamind. Nah, Megamind. Oh, Lord.
This isn't supposed to be funny.
Incomprehensive. Ooh.
That's a big word.
Skinny. Yeah. Incompetent. Depressed one. You said one more time? Ugly. Yeah. Fat Albert. What's wrong with y'all? Why y'all laughing? Can I be honest? Sometimes we call ourselves nicknames
Yes.
because we feel like if we make the joke about ourselves, we don't have to worry about someone else doing it.
Yeah.
So we're laughing at these things, but some of these are things that I know that we've called ourselves. Or what else?
So you can go ahead and put that next slide up. So a few of them, some of y'all have said, stupid, dumb, ugly. Some of us think we're too skinny. Some of us think we're too big. Some of us think we're too dark. And some of us think we're too
They
light.
don't say too big.
I'm not saying
It
that.
said too thick with two C's.
Y'all can read.
Two C's. Pastor Ashley. She didn't do that. I did that.
No.
I did
He
that.
typed that.
I did
You
that.
thought I typed that?
I did that. With two C's. No, but the thing is, I legitimately think that we've all, in some capacity, have thought about some of these things describing us. Make sure you're paying attention. And this is not the time for you to be talking. There will be more times. But I think it's very valuable for us to realize that all of these things, potentially, or the things that you thought of, the things that some of you knew that you've thought about yourself or called yourself, either out loud or just in your mind, we know that we've all had negative things that we thought about ourselves. And can I be honest, real quick? I know we don't use these often, but anybody ever play heads or tails? Anybody ever play heads or tails? I remember back when I was in school, there was a game called Get Like Me where people used to play heads or tails, and then you would do it for the coin. Like you flip the coin, you would call it out in the air. If you got it right, you would get the coin, right? So I think that we have to realize that there's something that's two sides of the same coin, and that's pride and insecurity. That's pride and low self-esteem. Essentially, any way that you look at yourself that's not how God created you, you're wrong. If you see yourself a little bit too arrogant, if you see yourself a little bit too good, you're wrong because you couldn't do anything without him. And if you see yourself a little bit too low, if you see yourself as the ugly one, the too dark, the too light, I've never felt like I was too light, but I have felt like I was too dark. Yeah, the too light never really happened for me. You didn't have to make that face. You're fake and you're phony.
I was thinking, but I love your skin tone.
Okay.
Okay.
But legitimately, I think it's valuable for us to realize that God created you the way that you are for a reason. And we need you to see yourself the way that God sees you. Because when you see yourself the way that God sees you, there's something powerful that begins to happen. And what that is you begin to walk confidently but not arrogant. You begin to walk not depressed or sad because you know who God has created you to be. And I just want to make sure that all of us are looking at ourselves the way that God has called us to look at us.
And when we're looking at ourselves the way that God has called us to, that is one of the things that help us come into community with each other. But sometimes, like we also come in the door broken. We also come in a dark place. Right. So one of the things about Naomi coming back to Bethlehem is that she was in a really dark place. Like she lost her husband. She lost her sons. She actually did lose one of her daughter-in-laws. Ruth was the one who decided to come with her. The other one decided to stay behind. So these women were like, you're my ride or die, we are clinging to each other. And another beautiful thing about them coming back to Bethlehem is that God called them into community. So clearly, if everyone in Bethlehem was like, oh my gosh, girl, you are back. That means like, one, it's a smaller town, but two, everyone knew them. People were in close relation with each other. So good community will call you by the right name. And the reason why I say that is because no one actually called Naomi Mara.
Facts.
Everyone was like, who's Mara? I done known you all your life, girl. I'm going to call you Naomi.
Who you is.
And I feel like a lot of people in this room, either you can relate to that or you know someone like that. He actually has a friend just like that. So Brittany Tyler, who comes here, normally she's out tonight, but we love when she's here. Mm-hmm. She is called Brittany in childhood, but once she got older, she was like, I'm going to go by Tyler.
Which is her middle name.
But guess who still call her Brittany?
So the fly?
He says, who's a Tyler? Like, I done known you since back in the day, so I'm going to call you Brittany. And guess who's calling her Brittany now? I met her as Tyler, but now I call her Brittany because that's like her childhood name, and he does it all the time. So all that to say, good community calls you by the right name regardless of your weaknesses. So even if you come in here and you're calling yourself stupid or dumb, or if you have body image issues, whatever it is, the people who are in this room are here to call you by the right name. And that means we want to call you Naomi symbolically. So we don't want to call you Mara.
And I know that aspect may be a little bit confusing, but we're about to clarify that real quick. We have maybe 3 more minutes of a message, and then we're going to do an activity where we're going to need everybody to be involved. So whether you want to be involved or not, you're like,
Everybody.
too bad. Because we feel like community is the most valuable thing that we have. We didn't say that we belong together just because we didn't mean it. That is who we are. We are better together, and we belong together. In Ruth chapter 4, I'm going to read 2 scriptures. I'm going to say 2 points, and then we're going to go into an activity that's going to be involving everybody. And it says, the women said to Naomi, praise be to the Lord, and this day has not left you without a guardian redeemer. May he become famous throughout all Israel. He will renew your life and sustain you in your old age. For your daughter-in-law who loves you and who is better to you than 7 sons has given birth. What does that mean, Pastor Zack? Because I am so confused. Like Pastor Ashley said, Naomi lost all of her family. She goes back to her hometown with her daughter-in-law. Her daughter-in-law is like, you know what? I'm going to stick with you. We're going to be ride or die. She meets somebody. And because she stuck with her and because of the community that they first started with each other, but then going back to a powerful one, is very similar to you may go to school, but that doesn't have to be your actual community. Can we be honest? Sometimes you go to school and you're like, them people really not for me. And I'm not really for them because we don't really align with anything together. My core values ain't their core values. The way I live my life ain't the way they live their life. Those aren't my peoples like that. We acquaintances, but we not like that. We not community. So when you go off to school and stuff happens, the beautiful thing is anytime you're here, Wednesday, Sunday, anytime in between, you're back in your community. And there will be people like your pastors and the rest of your leaders who will be guardian redeemers, who will encourage you no matter what has happened throughout the week and say, that's not who you are. Those situations don't define you. We won't allow you to live in the crap that you used to be in. We're going to only encourage you to go somewhere greater. Because like my wife said, we want to call you Naomi rather than Mara. What does that mean? Mara's name, in definition, is bitter. Some of you guys may not be bitter, but some of you guys feel like you are too dark, too light, too small, too whatever, and that makes you resent God or resent one of your friends. Resent a family member. Maybe you feel isolated. Maybe you feel abandoned. So you resent somebody. And you are bitter. God and we don't want you to be called that anymore. We want you to be known by Naomi. Kind of like Ashley means, beautiful. What does it mean? I forgot it again. It's the moment.
What does Ashley mean?
Yeah.
Ashley means girl who dwells in the ash tree meadow.
Well, I think it's, I like trees. Yeah. You're her, that's her brother. She's like, that's what that means? Come on, dog. Come on, dog.
No, but like, even with that, just to, because it's like, what does that mean really? Like, if you look up the biblical connotation of my name, because I'm way into names and stuff like that, it actually means harmony. So, like, living at peace with the people around you.
And that's what we want for each and every single one of you guys. We want you to be living in harmony. We want you to be like Naomi. We want you to realize that you are beautiful, because her name means beauty. We want you to realize, above all, that you are a pleasant one wherever you go, because that's what Naomi means. We don't want you to feel like you are the negative thoughts that you've had about yourself, the negative names that you've considered yourself. That's not who you are. You are pleasant. And above all, you are beautiful to God.
And just to add to that real quick, don't let life situations turn you bitter either. So some of y'all have gone through a lot of stuff. Some of y'all will go through a lot of stuff in the future, but don't let those situations turn your name into Mara. Don't be bitter. You can still choose God. You can still choose community. And as you choose the Lord, know that he's already chosen you. And as you come into community with the people around you, your name can be Naomi. You can be in a pleasant place still, even though everything around you may be going crazy. Because in this story, Naomi did not know that God was going to restore her by giving her a grandson. That grandson gives birth, like the family, the lineage, and all that kind of stuff. That becomes Jesse. And you might not know Jesse, but you know his son, and his son is David. So King David, who we talk about in the Bible. And if you don't know who David is, I'm sure you know who Jesus is. And that's his lineage. So God restores Naomi, and we get Jesus. Because God wasn't going to leave her out to dry.
And he won't leave you out to dry either. So what we're going to do now is say thank you for watching online. We love you guys so much, and we encourage you to make sure that you get connected to DY, get connected, pull up on our Instagram, pull up on all the things that we have going on. Booyah.